It is time to start our class this morning. Good to see each one that is here. Trust the mothers will be coming in as we get moving along here this morning. Got a few announcements. Don't forget the ladies' card signing this afternoon. Next Sunday, following the evening services, be celebrating the March birthdays. Next Saturday, Isaiah and Ashley will have their wedding here at 2 o'clock. And then Ladies' Day at Hartley Bridge on the 15th. And then gospel meeting at Hartley Bridge on the 13th through 16th of April. And beginning on the 16th of March over at Hillbridge Road in Dublin, there'll be a gospel meeting there with Milton Sampson doing the speaking there. Don't forget, turn your clocks forward next week. Yep, spring forward, fall back. So run them up an hour. In all the years they've done this, there's only one time I forgot to do it. And so I was in the Air Force at the time, and I was an hour late showing up for work. But no major national security events took place in that hour, so we were okay. But don't forget to do that next week. It's easy to forget. And then Jonathan and Tracy has anniversary tomorrow. Sick list, not going to go over everybody right now. It's about the same. We do have a few additions. Suzanne Zellner, this is Trish Cratley's sister. She had her knee replacement on Thursday. She's doing well. She's at home. Got a few little pains here and there, but that goes with the territory. But she is at home, and that's good. Brittany has not been feeling well this past week. She's doing some better. Michael, how you pronounce that last name? Lorem? That's close enough. And Shannon Borak. They don't even know how to spell their names. They're friends of Kimberly's. I didn't know she had any friends, but they're friends of hers. And but they've got some health issues going on. Kimberly told me one day I was her best friend and she didn't like me. But also my brother Robert, he was in the hospital the other day. He has been released. Long as he's sitting still, not doing anything, he's fine. He gets up and starts walking around. He's out of breath. He goes Wednesday to a different doctor, and they'll determine what needs to be done. My prediction is, and I think they're probably going to have to do a pacemaker. I'm almost certain of that. So we'll know more about that on Wednesday. Any other announcements we need as we get started? Andrew, lead us a word of prayer, please. Thank you. We are going to be in chapter 3 of Job this morning as we look at the trials and struggles of Job. Before we get into that, I did want to say that I was in contact with Derek Brown yesterday. He is in the Philippines. We'll be coming back to the States tomorrow. He said, tell everyone hello. He's looking forward to being with us again. And that is a very good work that we are fortunate to be a part of. And my opinion is I think we're a significant part of it, and I think they're very appreciative. In fact, he will be here on May the 4th, all day that day. So he'll be here on May the 4th, so that's about 2 months from now, but look forward to his being here with us. It's always good to see him, and hopefully his wife will be able to come with him this time. But they'll be here on May the 4th. As we look at Job chapter 3, there's one word in particular I'm thinking of that really stands out. And it's a word that perhaps we ourselves use quite often. And that word is why. Why? A little child, a little toddler, oftentimes, just natural instinct, they're just full of questions. Why? Probably been there, done that one. But, and then there's nothing wrong with that. But why do we sometimes use that word, why? You don't understand. That's exactly right. You don't understand, you want to know. And the reason I bring that up, 7 times in chapter 3 of Job, he uses the word why. He asking questions. 3:11, 3:12, 3:16, 3:20, and 3:23. And those verses right there, 7 times he asks why. Now, when we think about, Job and his struggles, as we mentioned last week, he has really gone through a great deal. In chapter 3 and verse 20, he asked the question, wherefore is light given to him that is in misery, and life unto the bitter soul? So he talks about, the misery that he's going through. He says, wherefore is light given to him that is in misery, and life unto the bitter in soul? Well, why is life given to him in misery? He's endured a lot. He is one who was righteous, none like him on the earth, and yet he's facing all these different situations. And it's very, very, very challenging. And so what we see in the first verse, chapter 3, verses 1 through 10, Job begins to, his series of curses, if you will. And we think about it, who or what did Job curse? Nobody, but what? The day of his birth. Yeah, he didn't curse anybody. And he didn't curse God. What? Yeah, I know. The day he was born. So it was indeed a challenging situation for him, and as we have mentioned, we can, comprehend what all he has gone through. So we think about Job. Is the book of Job recorded for us so that we can perhaps place judgment on Job, or is it recorded for us for other reasons? Absolutely. That's exactly right. Andrew? Anthony? Mm-hmm. That's right. Mm-hmm. And that is exactly right. So it's not recorded for us to base judgment on Job. As you said, and you're exactly right, God already said he was a righteous man. It's recorded for us to see how Job dealt with this situation, his response, and there's lessons there for us to learn. We all go through various situations, whatever they may be, and they're going to differ from person to person, family to family. But how do we react to it? Would we be like Job? Or would we be like those who were giving him some bad advice? No. So it's there for our learning, for our benefit. And so, and as Jimmy mentioned out a while ago, the stronger we are in our faith, the harder the temptations are going to be and the attacks are going to be from Satan. He's going to attack us. He's going to put every stumbling block he can in front of us. And he's very, very crafty, as the scriptures teach. That's right. Armor. Armor for the battle. We are in a spiritual war. Satan is our enemy. And the armor, that's exactly right. It is there for us. Now, Daniel was in the Marines. Joe was in the Army. Debbie was in the Air Force. And perhaps others were in the military as well. They give you your army to deal with the situations you're facing. But if you don't use your equipment that has been given, what good is it? None. So the armor has been granted to us. We are to apply it. And if we do that, we'll be successful. And so the lesson's there for us. We see how Job reacted. That's a great lesson for us to consider as well. That's right. That's right. That's a good point. Excellent point.
Harry, I remember that I was a basic training. You always posted uniform for the day. Uniform for the day, you're only doing this. You take the equipment you need to, when you get that task, to be able to fulfill the task.
Absolutely.
And those who left the equipment in their locker, they weren't prepared. So they had to do a do-over, or, they were penalized.
What branch of service were you in? Army? I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. That's good. And but the equipment's there. If you don't use it, it's no value to you. Same is true with God's Word. It's there. But if we don't read it and study it and make application, it's not doing us any good. So it's there for us. So some good points here. Well, Job, it begins chapter 3, not cursing God, but cursed his day. Talking about the day that he was born. Things have gotten so bad that he wishes he hadn't been born. Now, Andrew talked a while ago that, he felt that maybe in his lifetime he's had moments like that, he felt that way. Probably most of us at some point in time have been frustrated or discouraged or whatever the case may be, that maybe we had some of those same type of symptoms. You know, we mentioned before in other classes and stuff that as a child, many times young children become unhappy for whatever the reason, and that they want to run away. You know, probably some of us have done that. Not saying we did run away, but maybe we thought about it. I know when I was growing up, I remember one time I was going to run away, and I got as far as the end of the driveway and stopped. I decided that was far enough. But you know, but why do we go through things like that? Okay. That's true. That's true. And part of the point here is there's conflicts in life that happen. Some of them perhaps we can avoid. Some of them we can't avoid. It's beyond our control. And so part of the issue here is, you know, if we cannot control what happens to us, what can we control? How we respond. Bingo. Peggy gets the gold star today. Job says in chapter 3, as he talks about the day of his birth, you know, let that day be darkness in verse 4. Let not God regard it from above, neither let the light shine upon it. Let the darkness and the shadow of death stain it. So he's really coming down on his day of birth. It was a very difficult time. And you know, he's going through a lot of things, as we've talked about. He's lost his stock, if you will, and his animals. He's lost his family. You know, he's gone through a lot here, and so this is his reaction. But as frustrated as he is, he does not curse God, and that's important. But then, look what he says in verse 11. Talking about why. In the next several verses, from here to verse 23, 7 times he uses the word why. Why died I not from the womb? Why did I not give up the ghost when I came out of the belly? Why didn't I die? You know, why didn't I die? You know, that's a hard question.
It's really hard.
It really is.
I mean, I've been going through this illness, injury for a while. Started out being a fire. I went through that. And then I went through my back operation. You ask why, you know, why all this? And at first you get a little bit resentful, really want people to be around me. But then you start to think about, well, why did God put me in this position? And you start to embrace what it is. And I started to really, I've met a lot of people since I've been going through this. You know, people that I wouldn't normally meet. And it's helped me. And then people have helped me that normally wouldn't even help me. I just got to know them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people think it's a little thing like me and Jimmy taking me to a doctor's appointment. I mean, people don't really, you know, that's a little thing, but it's a lot.
That's exactly
Because
right.
on our way to the doctor, we talking and we get to know each other much better. You know, things I, you know, found out about Jimmy I never knew.
Hey, is it time for exposure?
But I mean, those kind of experiences change you as a person, and you get closer to people.
That's exactly right. That's a very good point.
You know, we watched the video about thorns. We all have thorns in our lives that we ask God to remove. And basically, at the end of the thing, God sometimes gives us thorns or allows thorns to come into our life to bring us closer to Him.
That's right.
Where we rely on Him more than ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Andrew, I don't know why I keep calling you Andrew. Anthony, the other Andrew, you know, it's been a year now. And you had the fire, the burn, I don't remember what month it was, but it's been roughly a year ago. So you've had a tough year. That within itself, it was painful enough. And then you've encountered the other things you've encountered. And what is your reaction? And you brought up some good points there, and I'm glad you did. You know, things that perhaps we didn't think about. Gives you a chance to see other people, draw closer to people, you know, get to know one another, like say you and Jimmy, get to know one another better. And so, you know, that's some good points. So even in our frustrations, there can be some good points to come forth, some good situations. So be like Job. Don't blame God. Don't curse God. Make the best of it and move forward. I mean, I know different ones in here's got health issues. Pat's had hers. I've had mine. Jimmy's had his. Certainly Anthony's. Different ones have had different things. Benefit from it. You know, all things work together for good. Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I think that Job, the book of Job, was written for our learning because Job didn't have a Job.
That's true.
Job to go to like we do. I could relate to Job, Christ first, and then Job. And I'd say in my case that the devil went into the presence of the Lord one day and he asked him, "Have you considered my servant Peggy?" I put my name in that spot. And when stuff happens to me, I recognize the same way God put Job on display to show the devil that I got some people, no matter what they go through, they're still going to serve me and not curse me. And so I think that that's how I look at the trials and the tribulations in my life, that this is the devil, and he wants to break me completely down, and I have to show the devil that I belong to God, and irregardless of what you send to me, I am going to stand and not fall apart, because I know this is you. I want to make God proud of me, like he was of Job.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So in that chapter 3 and verse 11, we have the first two times that he says why. But then in verse 12, he continues on with that question. Why did the knees prevent me? Or, why did the knees receive me? Why did I advance? Why did I continue to become the person that I am? Now, why? Questioning why. Now, when we ask this question, he's asking, as we said 7 times in the next few verses, Why? In these verses, is he questioning God? Or who or what is he questioning?
I think the events that he was going to do more than anything.
Okay.
He was something to cause everything. And then maybe again on that thing, he could have been questioning God, like, what did I do to bring the cause this? So it could have been leaving a little both.
I think what you said first is very accurate. The events. If I'm going to endure all that I've endured, why was I born? So the events. No. He does not blame God. He does not curse God. We don't know what his total thought process might be. But the events were tragic. And he's questioning that. Why did these things happen? Now,
You ever thought about, as an individual now, Job, if we could turn that around to ourselves. When you think you're living the best of your life, the best Christian life, and this thing just happened to you, and it seems like it just take a turn. But when that take a turn, we have to remember that God uses us for an example to the life we live. Because see, when you think you're perfect, you ain't higher than God. But he uses you to let you know you can get down to be an example. And some just to make you get closer to him.
well, that's right. You think about it. In the times that we have asked the question why, for whatever the reason might have been, did we always get an answer as to why? No. No. As a child growing up, did your parents tell you to do something or whatever and you say why? What would their answer be?
Because I said so.
Because I said so.
Used it myself.
Yep, famous last word, because I said so. Well, is that a real, is that really why they wanted you to do whatever it was? No, not necessarily. That's the answer they give you, because I said so. And you know what? That's sufficient. But at the same time, why did they want you to do whatever it was?
Sometimes maybe before you learn,
Yeah, yeah.
when your parents tell you something, they ain't gonna tell you nothing wrong. They tell you something that benefits you or make sure you know the fact of life.
Now, you don't always get your answer as to why. We look here, Job is asking these questions. Why, 7 times. Guess what? Did he get his answer? No, he didn't receive an answer. He didn't get an answer as to why. And, that can be frustrating sometimes. We want to know what's going on, why, and we don't understand, we don't know why.
Especially being at the lowest point in life.
Yeah. Yeah. Pat was a teacher. I was transportation director. We had things going on, and I'm sure Pat did, and you did in the Air Force and so forth. That we had things going on that I knew, but my drivers did not know. And sometimes they would ask the question, why? Some things they just didn't need to know. That wasn't in there for their benefit. So you didn't tell them everything. Job is asking why. He's not getting an answer as to why. But when everything was said and done, and Job is restored double on everything, you think Job knew why then? I think so, yeah. And we'll see that we get toward the end of it there. But yeah. sometimes at the end result you get a better understanding than trying to guess and wonder and speculate. So Job was, why? And why did he not die before birth and so forth? And but notice verses 20 through 22. Which long for death, but it comes not. And dig for it more than for hid treasures, which rejoice exceedingly and are glad when they can find the grave. Why is light given to man who is hid, and whom God hath hedged him? So whenever we look at these verses right here, you know, Job was wanting death and can't understand why. So he was wondering about it. And but, you know, certainly he'd be grateful in the end result that his life was not taken, that he did not die. He encountered a great deal. And I don't know how we would respond to some of the things that he dealt with. And so we consider chapter 3 and the things that Job encountered. Job, his concept of death would be different than our concept of death. In what way and why?
Because at this point, he was longing for it.
Mm-hmm.
And we long for heaven, but we don't long for death because we're caught up in the world.
Good point. Absolutely. Absolutely. And as Christians, like I say, you know, we've heard the question asked, do you want to go to heaven? Yes, but I don't want to go today. You know, songs and stuff about that. Paul had that desire. He longed to be able to go and go now. So if we are, as a Christian, we have lived our life in such a way that we're prepared and ready for that physical death, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And it's not good for those left behind because of the mourning and the suffering and all. But if a person is prepared, it's a great event. And it's something we can look forward to. Now, how many of us on our way home this afternoon hope that it's our last trip? Now, probably none of us. But are we ready to give an account? Are we ready for that day? If we're ready, then it's not a bad day. So, Job is struggling with everything. He's going through the pressures and the stresses that he's dealing with. And he is longing for death. Not so much death now, but why was I born? I wish I'd never been born. If he'd never been born, then it's implying why would I have never gone through all this?
You know, you can look at that a different way too, because he's longing for death. So evidently he knew the life he's gonna live. He longing for death with no fear, what I'm trying to say. So, you know, that's a challenge you have to look at too. Or every day is that challenge.
Is the book of Job, is it written by inspiration? Sure it is. Sure it is. Yes. Scripture is written by the inspiration of God. Now, that being said, those characters in there, their thoughts, including Job and the others. Now, the recordings are written by inspiration, yes. But are their thoughts inspiration? No, no, no. It's recording their ideas and their thoughts. And certainly the book of Job is the inspired word of God. But their thoughts and their understandings and all, it's just revealing who they really were and their thought process. So, Job has endured a lot. He has suffered, he has endured, and we know the things that he encountered was not his fault. God allowed Satan to test him. And Job wondered why. And that's a fair question. Why? Even though he didn't get an answer, it's a fair question. Okay, we'll stop there, and next week we'll move on next 2 or 3 chapters and look at some of the things he's encountered.